A top story first. Tamil Nadu's Industries Minister Keerthana Sampath has accused her predecessor TRB Raja supposedly of engaging in high-level corruption during his 2.5-year stint as the state's Industries Minister. Speaking to a gathering in her constituency of Sivakasi, Keerthana, without naming individuals involved, said that a former Industries Minister had his brother play the role of an acting minister, only to demand a cut from prospective investors who plan to invest in Tamil Nadu. The Industries Minister also added that this level of corruption meant that the state lost out to neighbouring Andhra Pradesh, failing to close out investment deals from 25 companies and 3.3 lakh crore rupees in prospective investments that later on went to the neighbouring state. She also alleged that 2 lakh employment opportunities were compromised in the process. Now, this is the second occasion in her month-long tenure that Keerthana has taken aim at Raja, first passing a remark that the former Industries Minister was still behaving like he was the state's incumbent minister despite DMK losing power. Staying with more news from Tamil Nadu, the tragic death toll due to an ammonia leak at a seafood processing unit in the Thiruvallur district near to Chennai has risen to 5. Over the weekend, an accident caused by a leak in the plant in question had killed 2 workers, even as many others took ill. On Monday morning, 3 more employees of the export unit had succumbed to ammonia exposure, which took the toll up to 5 individuals who had fatally been impacted by the leak. The Tamil Nadu government has said it has constituted an inquiry commission that will submit a report on the incident within the next 24 hours. On to our big story next. Less than a week since Brigade's environmental clearance for its controversial Morgan Heights project in Chennai was revoked, the anti-corruption NGO that's been mounting a campaign against the company's construction activity on the site has spoken to ET Now. In a conversation with South Central earlier today, Arapur Iyakam's convener Jairam Venkatesan not only welcomed the withdrawal of clearance for Brigade's proposed construction, but also claimed that fast-track approvals for the project were issued through high-level collusion between the developer and the government of Tamil Nadu. He also pointed out through CMDA approvals, which ET now has access to, that the proposed construction for the project in question fell within the designated Ramsar site and not merely within a zone of influence. For context, the Ramsar site is an internationally recognized wetland of ecological importance where construction activity is prohibited on account of their inherent ecological significance. Brigade's upcoming project in Chennai, however, is said to be in violation of these statutes. Here's more from my conversation with Arapur.
We welcome the move. Wholeheartedly because this is something that we have been asking for, for a long time now. In fact, the moment that we had raised this issue in October 2025, thereafter immediately the government should have done it. But I think the people's pressure, and placing all the facts before the public, and they also found a time during the model code of conduct, when there is not enough political pressure, when every politician was campaigning in the field. That was a time they finally decided to withdraw this. And also, when the new government is coming, they saw that there is a change of government that is happening. So right at that point of time is when this environmental clearance was withdrawn on May 8th, 2026.
Right. I have to ask you, Mr. Jairam, for the benefit of my viewers, many of whom may not be aware of the nitty-gritties concerning the issue itself, help break this down for us. The Perumbakam area was for the longest time a reserve forest area. A Ramsar zone was designated and duly designated in the year 2022, after which the Ramsar Convention state that no construction can take place on this site. Despite which, what we have seen is the launch of a 1,250 apartment project, which is really at the very bone of contention of this discussion itself. Could you help explain to me and my viewers as to how this is violative of existing statutes with regard to construction itself?
Yeah, so Ramsar, as we know, it's an international convention where every government every country, they designate wetlands to Ramsar, saying that this is a set of piece of land that we will preserve. We will not do any ecological change in this land, and we will preserve this for the future.
Right.
And therefore, there is a convention that guides it. Calling wise use of wetlands is the term that is used in the Ramsar Convention. And as per that convention, Pallikarnai Marsh Reserve Forest was designated as a wetland of international importance on April 8, 2022. And when they designated it, the state government sends a map showing what is the map, what is the boundary of this Ramsar, extending up to 1,247 hectares. They send it to the union government, and then the union government sent it to Ramsar. Ramsar publishes in their website internationally that this is the boundary that will be ecologically preserved from this date. And from this date, no construction can happen within this space.
Right.
And now, how are we guided as a country? We are guided by our own acts and rules. And therefore, a rule is framed under the Environmental Act called the Wetland Conservation and Management Rules. In that, they very clearly mention that wetlands categorized as wetlands of international importance under Ramsar Convention. So from that date of categorization, this rule is going to apply. And under section 4 of that rule, they very clearly mention what are the activities prohibited, in which they mention any construction of permanent nature.
Right.
So therefore, this part, when we say wetland categorized, they have also defined it in their guidelines, saying that categorized means designated.
Right.
So from the date of designation, which is 8th April 2022, in the case of Pallikarnai Marsh, from that date, no construction approval can be given, no construction can be done.
Absolutely.
So after, however, this Brigade Morgan Heights survey numbers, which are 453, 495 bar 2C, 496, 497 and 498 of the Perumbakam village, it falls right within this Ramsar boundary. In July 2022, they first start applying for environmental clearance. You have to look at the date, which is right after April 2022. Right? So therefore, from July 22, when they applied for EC, then itself the government must have said, no, Ramsar, you are within the Ramsar boundary, no construction plan can be encouraged or no environmental clearance can be encouraged. Right at that point of time itself, they should have rejected it. But they go ahead saying that, several reports are placed saying that this is abetting Ramsar within the environmental clearance files. Then they say it's forest department comes and says, while their own land is the adjacent land, survey number 534, they go ahead and say that it's 65 meters away from our land. So all false reports were given within. There is an active collusion that has happened, which resulted in environmental clearance being given in January 2025.
Right.
And then CMDA gave approval and so on.
I want to just pick up on that point that you mentioned about possible collusion being the case. Now, two very interesting facts. One is you're seeing survey numbers that are located right within the designated Ramsar site itself. My first question is a complete amateur. How is that possible and how did that come to be? Secondly, even if that were the case, what you are actively saying is that there has been collusion between the developer and the previous regime in Tamil Nadu. Is that necessarily the case?
Yes, because the project proponent, so I will answer both the questions. I will take the second question first. The project proponent in their application itself has misrepresented, saying that the marshland is 1.28 kilometer away from their land. Number one, this is false. Number two, they have to declare if there is any international importance land that is there. They should have declared Ramsar, that they are within Ramsar. I mean, you can even give a benefit of doubt to say that they didn't know about that they are there. But 1.28 kilometer away from the marshland is a joke, because their next land is forest controlled marshland.
Right.
With respect to whether private lands can be part of Ramsar or not, it's like the coastal regulation zone. It can be guided by coastal regulation acts, but you can't construct even if you are a private pata land above one, first floor or second floor. Things like that are there. Similarly, for Ramsar, in the Ramsar, application that goes from state government to central government to Ramsar, and even within Ramsar, they very clearly mention that Ramsar lands can be both government lands as well as private pata lands as of today. And what we also need to understand is that these lands were originally part of marshlands.
Right.
These were the survey numbers for Brigade that we are mentioning were originally part of survey number 430, which was defined as Perumbakam Reserve Forest as per revenue records. So, of course, people would have got these pattas at different points of time illegally and so on. And today, the government, when they see, when they map what are the wetlands, they will go by what is there in the original revenue record.
Right.
And that is how they would have figured out that these are all part of the Ramsar or the part of the wetland.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to talk to you a little bit about what Brigade has said in response to the revocation itself. In fact, a statement from the company has said that the lands are private patta lands, approvals are given by concerned authorities and private patta lands, and that final wetland boundaries remain undecided. Now, what you are saying is this is factually incorrect, because as of April 2022 itself, that site was designated as a Ramsar site, and therefore further notification or delineation of boundaries does not even arise in the first place. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct. So, for them to be covered under the Act, or this boundary has already been decided in 2022, and from that date itself,
right,
they are covered under the Ramsar Act straight away. The Wetland Conservation Rules straight away. Now, this point that they are saying that the boundary thing does not happen is only for the purpose of what we have to understand is for the zone of influence. Now, there is an integrated management plan that they have to submit. So, they have to mark this boundary delineation from this point, how many meters is zone of influence and so on. So, that process has to go on. But whether for people within Ramsar, that boundary has already been decided in 2022. The Supreme Court itself has time and again said, even for wetlands that are to be notified for other than Ramsar sites, even for them, Supreme Court has given a stay. They have said that until this process of notification is over, no one should construct. Even for those wetlands, they have given a stay. So, Supreme Court is aware of these wetland issues, number one. Whatever that they are saying that this is illegal and arbitrary and all that will not stand ground, because the fact speaks for itself. Very clearly, they fall within the Ramsar boundary that has been declared internationally all the way till Ramsar, from state government to union government to Ramsar. And there was no point of time we are not aware that government has not revised or anything the Ramsar map. They themselves have declared it at several points of time. In 2022, they have declared. In 2025, also CMDA has released the map very clearly showing with the survey number that this within the Ramsar map Brigade's property lies. So I think we are very clear with respect to the facts. So therefore, whatever claim that they are making that there is illegal and all that will not stand ground.
Right. And with that, we'll be slipping into a short break, but South Central continues on the other side, so keep staying tuned. Welcome back. You're tuned into South Central on now with me, Jude Sanith. This is the show that gets you up to speed with everything making headlines right here in South India. Moving on to Kerala next, protests are threatening to intensify in the state over the government's proposal to allow private participation in mineral sand mining unveiled in the recent state budget. Now, the budget in Kerala has earmarked 100 crore rupees for the proposed rare and critical minerals corridor, with the government pitching private participation to unlock investments and value addition in this sector. Fisherfolk, trade unions and environmental groups, however, have opposed the move, warning of ecological damage and threats to the coastal livelihoods in Kerala should the proposal fall through. In fact, it was that state budget tabled last week in Kerala that saw the state's Chief Minister V.D. Satheesan, also in charge of finance, unveil Kerala's Mission Samudra project with an outlay of 400 crore rupees. The CM said he hoped to transform the state into a global maritime and logistics hub. The initiative will focus on port-led development, shipbuilding, marine industries and coastal infrastructure, with the government also promising a new maritime policy covering Kerala's 13 non-major ports. The budget also proposes setting up an international maritime museum, expanding maritime skill development and leveraging the strategic potential of the Virinjam International Seaport as an investor magnet. Meanwhile, Karnataka's state-run transport corporations have sought a 10 to 12% bus fare hike, citing mounting financial stress from rising fuel prices, higher employee wages and operating costs. The corporations have also flagged cash flow pressures due to delays in reimbursements under the state's Shakti scheme, which provides free bus travel for women. They say the delayed payments have strained working capital, thereby prompting the request for a fair revision. They also say the delayed payments have in fact prompted a fair revision that should take form and shape in the future. Telangana government, meanwhile, has increased dearness allowance from 17.6% to 19.2% in terms of basic pay for employees and pensioners of the state's power utilities, benefiting over 70,000 workers. The 1.6% hike takes effect from the 17th of June, offering relief against rising inflation. The DA revision will also increase the financial burden on the state-owned power companies, but the government says the move is aimed at improving employee welfare and maintaining morale across the electricity sector. Now, the entire executive committee of the Association of Malayalam Movie Artists, including President Shweta Menon, has resigned, paving the way for fresh elections in the influential Malayalam film body. The move comes amid growing internal differences and renewed scrutiny of the organization's funding, with a new committee expected to be elected soon. In fact, the person at the core of it all, Shweta Menon, has alleged that there were multiple irregularities with the committee on account of accounts maintenance, which in turn had contributed to her stepping down. And Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Joseph Vijay turns 52 today. It's a birthday that's bound to be just a bit extra special, since it's Vijay's first after becoming Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. The actor emerged victorious in what can only be described as a historic assembly election barely 2 months ago that saw neither Dravidian party, the DMK or the AIADMK, win power in Tamil Nadu for only the first time in 60 long years. Vijay's fledgling political career, on the other hand, is seeing him do all. Govern one of India's most industrialized states, tiptoe around alliance obligations, and field a young, mostly first-time cabinet that's entrusted with steering Tamil Nadu through continued growth. However, for millions of fans across Tamil Nadu and beyond, there's little doubt that the Chief Minister is still a Kollywood heartthrob. After all, long before he entered Fort St. George, Vijay built one of Indian cinema's most successful careers. From Gilli and Pokiri to Tupaki, Katti, Mersal, Master and Leo, he delivered a string of blockbusters that cemented his place among Tamil cinema's biggest stars. And while politics now occupies center stage, cinema hasn't quite let go of him just yet. Fans are eagerly awaiting the release of Jananayagan, billed as Vijay's final film before his full-time political shift. So happy birthday, Chief Minister, and here's wishing you many more happy returns. And with that, we've come to the end of the bulletin today. Thanks so much for tuning in. South Central will be back soon with more news and updates from the region. For the moment, it's goodbye.